Hello, I am Priscilla with Scylla Travel. I am an experiential travel agency owner based in the Charleston, South Carolina area, and I would like to say hello, how's everybody doing? I help you live the dream through travel. So, what is experiential travel? Experiential travel is the type of tourism where people actively engage and they actually meaningfully engage and immerse themselves in a particular destination, whether that be a country, a town, city, locale, what have you. They engage with the people, the history, culture, food, even a particular activity. So today's topic is a personal story. And I'm just going to pause right here for a second. This is what I do every week. I make sure that I'm live. So I got to check the old phone to make sure that I'm live. So let's see. Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? Let's see. And I'm going to check for comments or I see one person watching, just making sure that I'm live. That's all. Let's see. Am I live? Come on. Come on. Yes, I am. And I am live. So got the old mobile phone. That's how we tell. Because these things, they have a life of their own. So people, if you're watching live, please do hashtag live. And if you do tune in on the replay, do hashtag replay. So I will get to your comments. I will answer them. Just let me know whether you view the broadcast live or on the replay. That's how I'll know. So going back to our today's topic is really a personal story. My name's Priscilla, like I said, and I'm the owner and operator of Scylla Travel. I'm in the Charleston, South Carolina area, and I am a experiential travel advisor. So what does that mean? Just to say that again, it's the type of tourism where people actively engage in the destination that they so decide to visit it. And today's topic, what we're going to talk about today I'm going to talk about a couple things. What I'm going to do is what we're going to do is today we're going to talk a little bit about culture. We're going to talk about immersive travel, and we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, my African American roots and my African heritage. So there are many of you out there who are just like me, but this is not going to be a negative broadcast at all. This is entirely positive, very positive. Because we're just going to take advantage and just ride the momentum right now. Things are changing in our space, in our nation, in the world in general. And COVID-19, has really made people think. It's made me think. Vacations are no longer just a vacation. Vacations are a luxury. So I'm going to share my screen because I have slides, right? You just know I have them. So let me go to my deck and share my slides. And here we go. All right. So, like I said, today is a personal story. My name is Priscilla with Scylla Travel, and I own an experiential travel company based in the Charleston, South Carolina area. And I help you live the dream through travel. So today's questions are, do you love culture and history like I do? Are you ready for an immersive travel experience? I sort of went over what that is. For those of you who may be tuning in now, I'm going to state again, immersive travel, experiential travel, they're basically one and the same, basically. It's where people actively engage in the environment. It's not your regular run-of-the-mill, I'm just going to be a beach bum type trip, but you actually engage with a culture, with a history, with the people, with the environment, with activities where you're actively, you're doing something. It's like full throttle travel. That's what immersion therapy is. That's what I coined immersion therapy, full throttle travel. So, this is my great grandmother Easter. Okay, so my grandmother was born a slave. Okay, she is the oldest relative that my family can remember. We remember her great grandmother Easter. So, and she was on my mother's side. So, like I said, because of COVID, right? I'm sort of redefining my trips and redefining what my trips mean to me, because I'm like, I need a trip and I really need a trip. But when I take my trip, I want my trip to be really, I want it to mean something. I want it to be life-changing and transformational. And that's the type of travel that immersive travel or experiential travel is. You immerse yourself into the destination, the culture, and engage with the people. So back to Grandma Easter. So when I was growing up, I wanted to be an archaeologist, right? That was the thing that I wanted to be. And that's probably because I wanted to travel. I wanted to travel the world. I used to watch programs like The Animal Kingdom. Okay, now people, these are some older shows. Some of you might remember some of these shows, but I don't know if everyone will remember them. But I used to watch Jacques Cousteau, the undersea world of Jacques Cousteau on TV. He was like an oceanographer. He would go to the oceans and display and talk about and do these documentaries on all the types of animals and fish and all kinds of other things that lived in the oceans, as well as I just love those National Geographic specials. I always wanted to visit faraway lands and meet people far away in these places so I could learn about them. It was just something that was just very interesting to me. I am an avid history buff. I used to read historical novels. I was the nerdy one reading those 1,000-page historical novels about, let's see one about the Assyrians. That was me reading that, or reading a historical novel about, let's say the, excuse me about that. For that, I hear some noise in the background. That was me. Okay, I wanted to, read books about, let's see, some of the books that I read. I remember reading about the Assyrians. I remember reading about the Romans. I remember reading about who they used to call the barbarians. Those are the Germanic peoples during the Roman times. And they called them barbarians, but they were Germanic tribes in Europe. Yeah, all mankind started with tribes and clans. I used to read about the Britons in Great Britain. I used to read about the Gales or the Gauls from France, or Fleming. I used to read about all these people. So I was always interested in it. So, but when it came to African history, it was just a big unknown. It was just a huge gap. So my parents did the best that they could. They taught us about my grandma, but the only thing we remember is that she was a slave. That's it. And I used to be like, Grandma, Mommy, who were Grandma Easter's family? Where'd they come from? Where'd our people go? Where'd they come from? What was our real name? There were no answers, of course. So that's how that started. My parents taught us about African American history. We had these African American history cards that my mom and some other parents bought when I was growing up in the 70s. I'm not going to tell you anything more. I'm telling my age. And, we didn't learn those types of things in school. They did the best that they could. There was nothing to teach them about African history. So fast forward, right? Fast forward many years, right? I always had questions about my own history. Like, who were my ancestors? Who were my ancestors actually? Where were they from? What were they like? What kind of foods did they eat? You know, why do I look this way? Why is my skin brown, or like a tan color, and some people's skin like a darker purple color, and why some other people's skin are lighter? And we're talking about browns here. There are varying shades of browns, All Africans don't look alike. And when I say Africans, I'm talking about people from African heritage, as well as the Africans themselves. Okay, I used to ask these types of questions. I used to wonder, what were they like? Were they fat? Were they skinny? Were they tall? Were they short? What did they do? Were they explorers? Were they builders, fishermen? Maybe they were farmers. Maybe they were scientists, maybe doctors. Who knew? I didn't know. Why do I like seafood so much? Is that maybe some trait that I inherited from some long lost seafaring ancestor? So I had numerous questions that really nobody could answer. And the farthest we could go back was great grandma Easter, right? And she was a slave. So that was, that was the history. That was as far as we could go back. That's the only legacy that we knew here in the United States, right? But today's a new day, right? So because I had all these questions, and that's just a picture of me, life on the farm when I was little. I just threw that one in there. That's like me on the left. That's me and my grandfather. I'm the little chubby one on the bottom in blue. My sister is, my grandfather's holding her. And on the other side, there's a picture of a group of people. That's my mom, my grandma, my older brother, who's holding my baby sister, and my mom's holding me in blue. So that's in the Low Country, South Carolina. So that's another story, right? The Low Country is where the Gullah Geechee people live, and the coastal peoples of South Carolina. And they're also in North Carolina, also in Florida, also in Georgia, in the coastal region. So that's a story for another day. So what did I do? I went and did my DNA because, like I said, I had no clue about where I could have possibly come from, what our heritage was. I really want to know what was our real name, And, as a small child, I couldn't understand what slavery was. Now, when my parents explained it to me, I was like really hurt and shocked, that human beings could own another human being, and we were learning all about European history and culture, but we didn't know anything or learn anything about Africans, us, me, some of you, my daughter, my mom and dad, my grandparents, my great-great-grandparents, my great-great-great-great-grandparents. We didn't know, so that's why I did my DNA. And as you can see, my DNA says that I am part Nigerian, part Ghanaian, Liberian, and Sierra Leonean, and Senegambian and Ghanaian. I know I'm not pronouncing that right, but that is my ancestry composition. So those are the groups that I am connected to in Africa. And I'll tell you another cool thing. I actually met a relative via 23andMe in Nigeria. I haven't met her in person, but a real person that I'm related to. She's like a fifth or sixth cousin. They've got all those once and twice removes in there. I could never understand that. But I was actually traced and linked by DNA to a human being that I reached out to in Nigeria. She's in the Calabar. So I was like, yes, at least I have a place to start. We all know that the majority of the people who were enslaved and were imported to the Americas and the Caribbean were from West Africa. But where in West Africa? Did you actually know that the continent of Africa has 54 countries? And did you also know that the entire United States of America, China, India, Europe and Japan can fit inside the continent of Africa. That's how huge it is. So tell me, did any of you know that? If you knew that, comment hashtag yes, I knew it, or hashtag no, I didn't know that. So that just lets you know the scale, of the African continent and how broad and how many people groups, tribes, clans live there, So it's the cradle of civilization. So like I said, for those of you joining in, this is a personal story. My name's Priscilla with Scylla Travel. If you want to comment, hashtag live. If you come in on the replay audience, hashtag replay. So my heritage, Nigerian, Ghanaian, I'm going to say Ghanaian for short. These nations are in the same region, the same peoples. So the borders right now, they're artificial borders. They're not real borders. People migrate and migrated, move from parts of the world or wherever they are for various reasons, environmental reasons, maybe wars, maybe disaster, better fertile land. They move. People moved around. Same as the Europeans, same as anybody else on any other continent. They migrated. They moved around. They're not all the same. So now, why Ghana? Why did I pick Ghana, right? Why am I talking about Ghana? Well, here's why. I'm going to say low-hanging fruit, right? So the Ghanaian people had, in 2019, they had an event called the Year of Return, where they invited African Americans, people of the diaspora, the African diaspora. A lot of times we hear about Jewish diaspora, where they were all over the world and they went back to Israel. Well, Africa, Ghana in particular, is saying, hey, diasporans, if you are in United States, Caribbean, wherever you are in the world, come back, relearn about your heritage through us. We will help you. They're inviting us, right? And Akwaba, that means welcome. That means you are welcome. So that being said, I am sponsoring a trip to Ghana, November of 2021, mind you. It's called Ghana 2021, Relive History Through Heritage. We as African Americans, or maybe you're not a Black American or an African American, maybe you've got someone in your family that is, or has some type of African heritage in them, and they have a piece missing. There's a big question mark on where we come from. Everything is so, not good. The things that we hear and learn about people like us, because we just don't know what that history is. It does something to you not knowing your history, where you came from. And the only things that you know about, or as far back as is slavery. That wasn't good. It wasn't. That wasn't a good situation or scenario. No way, no how can you slice it. And the people remember it. And to this day, some of that is passed down to generations, my generation, the generations after me. So how do we fix that? Well, let's go learn who we are. Maybe you have a family member that has African heritage in them, or a significant other. Support them. Send them on this trip. Go on this trip with them. This is going to be a positive thing. So this is the trip. Experience Ghana. History, heritage, wildlife, and safari tours. Now, you remember, if you've been watching, I loved watching the animal kingdom. So I always want to go on safari, right? So safari is going to be, this is like a 9-day trip. So it's not just safari, but it's history, heritage, and safari tours. We're going to be touring various regions of the country of Ghana, and we're going to be learning about our African heritage through the Ghanaian people. We're going to be learning about Africa from the Africans themselves, from the perspective, from the perspective of the Africans themselves. So, hey, Facebook user, if you want me to see your name in the comments, just click. There's a link in the post that says grant StreamYard permission, and then I'll be able to see your Facebook information. So yes, indeed. So from the African people themselves. So this is an immersive trip. Culture, history, heritage, food too. We can't leave out food. So we're living in unprecedented times, right? The conversation about race relations in the US is being had all over the place, right? That's all we hear about. But the most part, we hear about negative stuff, but we want to hear about positive things. We want to reinforce positive things about us and our kind and where we came from, learn about who we are, who our ancestors were. They were kingdoms. Yes, indeed. And yes, indeed, they did fight the European powers. They didn't just throw their hands up and just step aside and just allow people to be just imported or deported. There's a long history over hundreds of years. So many different groups of people, like I said, many kingdoms, many different political things going on, many different things going on over the course of time. It's just not one and done answer for anything. But there were kingdoms and kings. And in the kingdom of Ashanti, in the city of Kumasi, in Ghana, that's one of the locations we're going to be visiting. And we're going to be visiting the palace of the Asantehene. And he is the top king of kings of the Asante people. So he's still there. Yes. And we'll be visiting there. Now, that's just one of the regions, but we'll be learning all about the Asante people. So, like I said, we'll be visiting several regions in Ghana, and many of them are UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Like I'm saying, UNESCO World Heritage is a history compiled by a group of international historians, and they allowed the people to tell their own history from their own perspective, not someone else's perspective. So yes, indeed. So be sure to tune in next week. We'll be learning a little bit more about Ghana and what to expect from the trip. So another thing, in order to participate, because we're also going to be having additional events. They'll be held in the Facebook group. It's you'll see a link in the bio to join the Facebook group. Excuse me. If you're on Instagram, there's a link in the bio. On Facebook, there's a link in this post. If you're on YouTube, there's a link in the post in YouTube. So you can join the Facebook group and be a part of the conversation. And we're going to be talking about, and we're going to learn all about Ghana, learn all about history, and we're going to learn about not just Ghana. That's just the first of many trips. We're hoping that we have a vaccine by that time. This is November of next year. So the details will be coming up soon. Be sure to get on the VIP list. Space is limited. Go to www.scyllatravel.com, scroll, and you will see the trip. Click there. You can see the itinerary, and you can also get on the VIP list. Space is limited. So remember, everyone, it's all about you. It's all about your vacation. It's all about where you've always wanted to go, where you've always wanted to travel to. It's about that trip of a lifetime. It's about that trip on steroids, that bucket list trip. So this is Priscilla with Scylla Travel, and I'm signing off, hoping that you have a great rest of your evening. Bye-bye.